Was nearly home. Nearly with my dear wife. Go to Edern, they said. You'll sell at a profit, they said. Go to Edern, they said. You'll sell at a profit, they said.
The ruins still smoulder. Nilfgaard Park's not long afore. They must be close.
No doubt they already knock at Aldersberg's gate. We must make haste.
Brave warriors, fled so fast, didn't manage to pack.
Arcana would stand no chance against a well-swung blade.
Yeah!
Neve roared, delivering a powerful blow. Her blade severed the mage's aorta, and drowning in his own blood, he fell to the ground. He choked out by way of last words. Then the blue aura coming from his hands flickered out, and the stone giant thundered to the ground in pieces. When the dust of the battle had settled, the Queen ordered her men to search the Nilfgaardian camp. In the mage's tent, they found a rare instrument used to communicate at a distance, a megascope. The crystals encrusted in its brass frame were still warm, meaning it had recently been used to conduct a conversation. The burning question was, with whom?
Isbel!
Yelled the Queen. The mage dutifully came closer.
This device. Could you activate it?
Yes, Your Grace. But are you sure?
I am. Get to work.
Isbel nodded, then began calibrating the magic device. Finally, something clicked. A light flickered on, and before Meave's eyes appeared the outline of a Nilfgaardian general.
Speak common, please. I know not your tongue.
Oh, forgive me. I thought I spoke to someone else. Good to see you in good health, Queen. Or ex-Queen, I suppose, would be the more apt title.
Instead of fretting so much over my title, give yours.
Of course. Where are my manners? Duke Adel Ebdahi, Grand Chancellor, Commander of Army Group East. I believe you've heard of me.
Of course I have. You are the coward who, instead of facing me himself, employed traitors to do his bidding.
What you call cowardice, I call diplomacy. And you must admit this diplomacy has proven quite successful. First Lyria, then Rosberg, and southern Edern. All taken without any real losses.
Enjoy it while you can. Easy victories are short-lived.
Is that what you think? I'm afraid you're in for an unpleasant surprise.
Is that a threat?
No. A simple prediction. Enough of this. Why use this megascope? What is it you want?
To tell you I shall never surrender. That I shall fight to my last breath.
Your breath shall cease, that is certain. Exactly when I wish it to.
What is that supposed to mean?
Farewell, Your Majesty. Or rather, till next time. For there will be a next time, I assure you.
A quiet fell over the tent. The Queen stepped outside, squinted her eyes against the glare of the burning fields, and swore to herself that when she did see Grand Chancellor Adel Ebdahi again, he would be a whole head shorter.
All destroyed. As if nobody lifted a finger against the Nilfgaardians.
King surely ordered all his armies to return to Aldersburg. Took cover behind its walls.
I do not wish to dismay, but after what we saw at Rosberg...
Enough doomsaying, Gascon.
Watch your heads!
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Must be an important lesson in this. But what?
Catch!
Hundred and 1, 102, 103.
Life is mine now.
fight to my last breath.
Wise choice.
As ordered.
I smell a leak.
Aye.
Company! Forward march!
Should have listened to me, old lady. This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
Yes.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Destillat Zweifel!
Thing about slings, they hide well. Hey?
Herzer.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
A knight should help. Our codex commands it.
Order!
much anger and suffering. For what?
A highly curious case. Egreto dum anime est, des est. My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Coming across a small brook, Meve ordered her soldiers to replenish their water supplies. When they returned, it was with empty water skins and troubled expressions.
Milady, the water tastes of blood. Not like black pudding, mind, but rancid, filthy.
Meve had no choice but to march on. She gulped dryly and wondered how to interpret this strange event. An omen, perhaps? A warning from the gods? She soon learned the truth. Following the brook upstream, the Lyrians arrived at a small pool. Bobbing on its surface were dozens of corpses. A young woman caught Meve's gaze, her long hair spread delicately atop the water, wide-open eyes reflecting the sky, a fine nose peppered with freckles, and a gaping wound slashed across her throat.
We shall stop here,
the Queen said calmly,
and give these souls a proper burial. Reynard, send scouts. Tell them they are not to return until they ascertain what has happened here.
When the scouts returned a while later, they brought with them a barefooted peasant they'd found hiding in the woods. They claimed he hailed from Horton, a nearby village, the village whose inhabitants had been murdered.
Them black-clad wretches stormed the village, milady. The devil free gave at the fore. Rounded us right up, took us down to the lake. Whole village, mind. They'd chop, and splosh, splosh. 'Twas I alone gave him the slip.
Meve listened to the man's tale, then placed him in the care of her medics and ordered the Lyrians to break camp. She rode at the head of their column, Reynard at her side, her knuckles gripped white on the reins.
Do we know where this Frigef is stationed?
Our riders report he's pitched camp to the east.
Then let's pay him a call.
They killed all, like Rosberg. My lady, please, make them pay.
Milka, Bezrad could have run for help, I know. But I was afeard. Afeard the black... What now? Whatever will I do? Alone?
The Lyrians had no trouble finding Vrygif's camp. It was the size of a sprawling town. Meve stopped her caravan and called for a council. The first to speak was Reynard.
Seems our scouts were both right and wrong, Your Grace. They did pinpoint General Frigef, the Butcher of Horton. Unfortunately, they underestimated his detachment. It is much larger and better armed than our own.
That changes nothing.
Meve said, forestalling all protest.
If I leave him unpunished, without so much as an attempt, I shall never be able to face my reflection again. We must attack.
Reynard bowed and passed the order to the Lyrians. Later that same day, Meve and Vrygif's forces stood face to face on the field of battle.
Frigef! It's time you pay for your crimes! Come out, Frigef! It's time you pay for your crimes!
Watch your heads!
You will pay! There! Frigef! I see him! We've got to catch him!
Us or them, no other way!
Life is mine now!
Fear not! We shall achieve our goal!
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Wise choice.
Whoresomes.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Order! Discipline shall bring us victory!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
to the front yet again.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
I fear not, for faith guides me.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
The Lyrians won the day, despite their foes' distinct advantage. Historians later ascribed Maeve's victory to her light troops' superior maneuverability in the difficult terrain compared to the plate-clad Nilfgaardians. But if you ask me, that wasn't it at all. A storm of fury had been quietly gathering in the Lyrians' hearts, a squall of rage stoked by the Nilfgaardians' unparalleled cruelty towards the conquered. And no one embodied this barbarism more perfectly than General Frigga. Maeve's men were ready to sacrifice anything to see him punished. They dragged the defeated general before Maeve. The Queen wished to learn why he'd ordered the execution of an entire village, how the Nilfgaardians could possibly justify such a crime.
2 weeks prior, I'd sent a detachment to Horton to procure feed. Captain Gaynor commanded it. While he was verifying their grain stores, they barricaded him in the barn and put it to flame.
The Queen listened to the general's story, her face a mask, betraying nothing.
Murdered. One man was murdered.
Frigga raised his eyes to Maeve's. The Queen was surprised to see them wet with tears.
Yes, my lady. My son.
The general's simple words bore pain, grief, and a thirst for revenge that would never be slaked. The Queen had to decide what to do with Frigga. No doubt the general had earned punishment, the harshest possible at that. Yet, such a weighty personage could fetch a hefty ransom, and Maeve's army desperately needed the gold. In the end, the Queen decided to return the general for a golden ransom. Whether she chose the path out of mercy, moved by the Nilfgaardians' tears, or out of pure material calculation, sensing an excellent chance to replenish her war chest, it is hard to say. One thing is certain. Her men were crestfallen at the news. They had challenged Frigga's greatly superior forces in the name of justice, not gold.
have it the white of an eye from half a league away. Bigger they are, easier they are to target. Thing about slings, they hide well.
Took but one damned week, but the army was shattered in bits and pieces. Blacklads were supposed to grind their teeth against our walls. Commander, onward to heaven!
There a place for me in your ranks, your majesty?
Give me a target. Our ballista, your command. Armor wars. One bolt grenade. Give me a target. Give me a target. Our ballista, your command. Armor wall, sir. One bolt I need. Give me a time. Our ballista, your command. Armor wall, sir.
Huh?
A taxidermied unicorn. Strange. What are your orders, Your Grace? Shall we take it?
I've no notion what one could possibly do with such a thing. We ride on.
Meave's Lyrians were traversing a wood when they heard the loud, drawn-out blast of a horn.
One of our scouts?
The Queen asked, clearly perplexed. She turned in her saddle to face Reynard, who shook his head.
Strange. Gascon, Appoint a few of your strays. Ones who know how to blend in. Have them sniff out who blows that horn. And why.
The scouts returned a short while later with their report. Soldiers had pitched camp in a nearby meadow. They wore Edirnian uniforms, cut by sashes bearing a golden sun. They addressed their leader as Fulberson.
Know the name,
Rayla said.
Fulberson went over to the enemy first day of the war, took his whole division with him. Your Grace, a chance like this won't come again. Let's teach the traitors a lesson.
We must send a strong signal. One all the North will hear. From the Yaruga to the Dragon Mountains.
Announced the Queen.
Whoever collaborates with the invader shall pay with his head. Prepare to attack.
Rayla nodded, clearly pleased. The Lyrians surrounded the meadow marked by their scouts. Moments later, a flaming arrow pierced the sky, giving the signal to attack.
Is that Queen Maeve? To arms!
152, 154.
I smell a leak.
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
New orders? No?
This man has suffered much.
My scars? No, they don't hurt.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
I fear not.
Mercy, your grace. We surrender.
The traitors, perhaps used to fighting unsuspecting foes, stood no chance against the determined Lyrian attack. At its conclusion, Meve personally knocked Fulberson off his mount, then tore off his visor. The face she saw evoked more sympathy than hatred. Fulberson was an old, sickly man, his skin pale and blemished. With great difficulty, he pulled himself up on his knees, then extended a shaky hand in pleading.
Your Grace, have mercy. The Nilfgaardians forced me to treason. They threatened torture.
Meve felt her soldiers' eyes on her. They awaited her decision. How would she treat this traitor? Would she really execute him as a warning to others?
I hereby dissolve your division, Falberson. And you, surrender your sword and be on your way.
The traitor threw himself at the Queen's feet.
You've shown mercy befitting a truly great ruler, Your Grace. 1,000 thanks. To the west of here lie my lands. Visit me. I shall throw a sumptuous feast in your honor and provide a generous donation to your fight against our common foe.
Meve ordered Fulberson to stand. Her Lyrians reluctantly stepped out of the departing traitor's way. When he passed Black Rayla, she spat at his feet. Meve and her Lyrians arrived at Fulberson's lands, home of the traitor she had let live. He greeted the Queen with full honors. In ceremonial garb, a platter of bread and salt held aloft.
Your Grace, 'tis an honor to welcome you to my humble abode. Please, come inside. A fattened piglet already turns on the spit. Soon I shall fetch my best wines from the cellar.
Meve, having lived on nothing but salt pork and gruel for weeks, was tempted to accept the offer. Black Rayla, however, was strongly against it.
Ma'am, forgive my insolence, but to eat from a traitor's table is foolish. Don't do it.
Meve ignored Rayla's warning, and for her part, Rayla refused to partake of the feast. The Queen attended in the company of only her closest advisors. The table groaned under all the refined delicacies laid out upon it, and rivers of wine were served. Fulberson delivered a flattering toast in Meve's honor.
You could search all the world and not find such a ruler. One so brave, so merciful, and so naive.
With these last words, heavily armed Nilfgaardian soldiers poured out of the adjoining rooms.
Adfen Esnar!
Meve leapt away from the table, barely dodging the bolts sent flying towards her. She drew her sword.
The king leads us. Not so mighty now, are you, me?
You'll pay for this!
Falberson, slayer of the great Meve. Sounds rather good, doesn't it?
Me! Catch! I've no intention of dying today.
You fight in vain. This is where you die.
Wait, you're serious?
Discipline shall bring us victory!
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Forward march!
Quick and painful this'll be.
We must trust each other.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Wait, you're serious?
Valyria and Rivia! For the north!
God, have mercy! They forced me!
Niamh fought her way out of the trap, and Fulberson, a traitor twice over, finally died as he deserved, skewered on a sword in a puddle of blood.
Reynard.
Yes, Your Grace.
Should I appear ready to forgive again? To let treason go unpunished?
The Queen said, wiping her blade on a lace-fringed tablecloth.
Kindly remind me of Fulberson's feast.
Niamh went on her way as soon as she could, taking with her a hefty load of the oath-breaking lord's belongings and some valuable experience.
Was nearly home. Nearly with my dear wife.
The Lyrians stood within 5 miles of Aldersburg when the road, which until now they had travelled alone, suddenly filled with all manner of folk. Peasants, merchants, and wounded fighters in tattered uniforms. They trod solemnly in the opposite direction, their worldly possessions on their backs.
Aldersburg's fallen, my lady.
Sighed one of the refugees with a forlorn shrug.
Outer walls breached. King still defends the old town, but black-clad goats are winning. You'd best turn back before it's too late.
We've nowhere to turn to, good man.
The Queen said, then spurred on her horse.
Follow me!
The Queen galloped so fast the wind squeezed tears from her eyes, the Lyrian cavalry close at her heels. Hoofbeats thundered down the high road, and the crowd of refugees parted, making a path for the charging riders.
Faster! Faster!
Soon they set eye on Aldersburg. A red glow filled the horizon. The wind carried screams and the clanking of steel. The once proud city was quickly turning to dust in the Nilfgaardian sun. The Nilfgaardian force moved to block the Lyrians' way. Without slowing, Meve cut down the infantryman who tried to drag her from her saddle with a hook. Her head in a winged helmet fell to the ground, leaving a bloody track.
Lyrians! Attack!
Meve shouted.
Take no prisoners! Bloody hell! You shan't stop me. Not now! Bloody hell! You shan't stop me. Not now!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
This could hurt. Fear not. We shall achieve our goal.
Life is mine now.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Aye.
Watch your heads!
Very good!
Ever have a storm knock out one of your team?
Nothing personal, I assure you.
We must trust each other.
Very good!
Prepare to fight, if you've any honor.
It's not too late to walk away.
Very good. Discipline, that is what you folk lack.
Your Grace, that was but their rear guard.
The Lyrians managed to scatter the Nilfgaardian battalion, one of many besieging Aldersburg. Their scouts brought before the Queen a prisoner freed from the invaders. Niamh inquired about the situation in the city.
Turned a right slaughterhouse it has. The Imperials, they... King had the city cleared, my lady, but didn't budge himself. Holding out with his guard in Old Town, walls still standing there. Said he'd fight to the end, come what may.
Niamh weighed her options. The situation looked dire. Demavend, to whom she had come for help, needed help himself. Nilfgaard enjoyed an overwhelming advantage. The small Lyrian detachment stood no chance of breaking the siege. But to retreat, surrender, that was not something Niamh did.
The Nilfgaardians do not expect a relief force. Rayla, you know Aldersburg. Can you lead us by side streets to the Old Town, that we may avoid the largest part of the Nilfgaardian army?
The warrior nodded, and without waiting for any further orders, strode out in front of the party. Reynard followed her with his gaze, clearly troubled.
And what then, Your Majesty? We burst into the lion's den and...
And we pray the lion chokes. Follow me!
The walls crushed and breached. The lower town in flames. Hundreds, thousands wounded. Thousands more fled. King...
Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled up elderberries. Out, Lyrian At Ven Esnar!
Gods have mercy. And demons take it all!
Taking advantage of the confusion, Niamh maneuvered her troops to the very walls of the Old Town. Spying Lyrian banners, the defenders suspected a trap. But when they noticed Black Rayla among them, they immediately lowered the drawbridge. The Old Town was a maze of brothels and shady taverns. In normal times, students and other pleasure seekers prowled its dark alleys. Now, tired soldiers slumped in every corner, though the Lyrians' arrival clearly buoyed their spirits. The Fraternal Realm's warriors clasped each other's hands and swapped tales. Even Edern's king, Demavend, made no secret of his pleasure at seeing these unexpected arrivals.
Meve, of all the besieged cities in all the world, you walk into mine. Come to the rescue, have you?
To be quite frank, I've come to be rescued.
Oh, yes. I've heard much of the events in Lyria. Disgraceful. Such betrayal. However, as you might have noticed, things are none too rosy here either.
Yes, that is hard to miss.
I thought we'd trade blows with the Blackclads. That it would be an even match. 2 weeks. That sufficed to annihilate the army I'd spent my whole lifetime building.
Your Majesty, I cannot say what fate will bring, if we shall reach this war's end alive. But I wish to say now that I admire you.
Oh?
You evacuated the city, yet refused to evacuate yourself. You fight to the bitter end, like a hero.
But of course. A king must lead by example, after all. Especially in war.
Reynard, that rumbling, you hear it? Studded boots on cobblestones. The Nilfgaardians. Prepare the men for battle.
Yes, Your Grace.
So, now that we're alone, what's really going on?
What? Did you not hear? I'm defending my capital, like a hero.
Demavend, please, don't feed me that drivel. We've known each other far too long. Why did you stay?
Meve. As meddling as you are beautiful. See that building? That one there.
The brothel? The Crimson Bodice?
Precisely. So, promise not to laugh. I'm a patron. A loyal one, in fact. One of the girls there, Demeretta. She's marvelous. Makes me feel young again.
A young fool, you mean? Demavend, there's a war on, and...
Allow me to finish. Demeretta became, well, with child. Exactly 9 months ago. Understand now?
She's entered confinement. Having contractions.
Since yesterday. You see, I cannot leave her like this. Can't have her moved. I must stay put until she gives birth.
And then what? Pray tell. Invite all of Nilfgaard to the christening?
No, my dear. There is a hidden tunnel deep beneath the city, leading far beyond its walls. Once the midwives cut the cord, we flee.
I understand. For one's child, one would do anything.
Odd, isn't it? Amusing, even. Midst of a war, my kingdom burning all around. And I'm happy.
In that case, I can only hope your offspring, unlike mine, will continue to.
Your Majesties, the Nilfgaardians are attacking.
Meve, we must hold out. A few hours, that's all.
I'll do what I can. Defend the king! We must stop them!
You'll never take me alive!
Barbarians.
I want their heads! Anvallen in order!
Neve! They're getting close! Devils take all, help me!
I smell a leak.
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Fear not. We shall achieve our goal.
You mad? Don't shake that!
A knight should help. Our codex commands it. I warned you.
Neve! We must hold on a bit longer.
I'd hoped we could solve this some other way.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Nothing personal, I assure you.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me. Aye.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Alba! There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Very good! No! The chase! Ha ha ha! It worked! Now retreat to the tunnel!
With their forces combined, the rulers managed to hold the old town long enough for Demereta to bear the king's offspring, a healthy, hardy boy. When the midwife slapped the infant, his scream carried above the roar of battle. Soon afterwards, the defenders abandoned the walls and left the city through a secret tunnel. The Nilfgaardians, furious that not one but two northern sovereigns were among the escapees, razed Aldersburg to the ground.
Thank you. If not for you, the devils would have devoured us.
I should say it was nothing. But the truth is, I need your aid.
Aid? But you see, my army is no more. I must pull back, regroup.
Pull back? Where to? The golden sun flies over your entire realm.
To Redania, to take shelter at the court there.
And then? Will you sit and watch the fool juggle apples as Nilfgaard parcels all Edirn out to its settlers?
Meve, one must know when to fold and when to double down. Nilfgaard has stretched the front. Winter will soon be here. Let the costs claw away at them. A year, two, then we strike. And we shall prove the Empire is a colossus with feet of clay.
You're a coward, Demavend. A common coward.
Perhaps so. But mind, courage alone wins no wars. Soldiers do. And Nilfgaard simply has many more.
I can't live like that.
So what shall you do instead?
Fight on. Until I win. Or the black-clad curs tear me apart.
Gods, such pity I have for your husband. The poor man must have had a rough go of it.
He seemed content with his life while it lasted. Yet I'm serious, Demavend, in my request. You truly won't aid me. Provide nothing at all.
I will tell my men whoever so wishes can join your party and fight on. But please, curb your excitement. They are tired. few will choose the path of greater resistance. But, are you familiar with the saying, when at wit's end, a dwarf's your friend?
Yes, it and many others. Yet as much as I appreciate folk wisdom, I prefer facts to philosophy at the moment. Preferably facts relevant to my situation.
How about this? Mahakam is but a week's ride from here. And there you'll find thousands of dwarves armed to the teeth. Enough to turn the tides of this war, I venture.
Yes, they could. If not for another fact. That the dwarves have always been famously indifferent to strife between humans. They'll never come to my aid. Bah! I doubt they'll even let me into their land.
Unless you show them this. The Leaden Ring. A token of amity given to me by the Elder-in-Chief. That's not to say they'll welcome you with open arms. But they will hear you out. And that is something.
Dwarven infantry I'd make good use of. I shall do as you say. Or at least try.
Good. And to ease your journey somewhat, I'll give you as your guide the best man, or rather woman, for the task. Rayla!
Yes, Your Grace?
You've been to Mahakam with me many times. You know their paths. Take Queen Meve and her party there.
'Twould be an honor, Your Majesty.
I'll send messengers ahead that the dwarfs may expect your arrival. Until then, good luck, Meve. And may we one day waltz upon the grave of our foe, Emperor Emir.
May it be so. Just as long as I get to lead.
Ah, of course. Farewell, Queen.
Meve left Aldersburg in ill spirits. Rather than provide the help she had hoped for, Demavend had merely sent her on to Mahakam. Her way west was lit first by the glow of a burning city, then by the smouldering remains of charred villages by the roadside. It was clear the war against Nilfgaard had taken a bitter turn. Each stranger was now treated as an enemy, and the customarily hospitable Aedirnians slammed their doors at anyone's approach. The party's morale was somber as well, and did not even improve with the first sight of mountains looming in the distance. Wandering among the ashes, Meve entered the dwarves' domain. Along perilously steep paths, Black Rayla led the Queen and company towards Mahakam, the dwarven homeland. There, among snow-capped peaks, someone awaited.
Rayla, you brought strangers.
Gabor, I present to you Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
Ah, a queen. Crivens. Well then.
A large shadow swept across the sky. The dwarf swallowed the rest of his greeting as all raised their gazes to see a dragon soar swiftly toward Mount Carbon.
Keltilis, dinna be afeard, he isn't a threat to us.
The dwarf had broken the silence gently, he himself quite familiar with this altogether unusual sight.
And now, sit yourselves down afore the pottage grows cold.
But... Flew... Drake?
Stone shriveling marvel, innit? Makes you almost sad the lizards are dying out.
Should you not worry more about the fate of your brethren? That creature will soon have all Mahakam aflame.
Ha! Keltilis? No! He's lived here centuries. Harmless for the most part. Now, Your Grace, a taste?
No, none. Though your offer of repast I value, good sir.
Oh, no need of that. Gabor, please. Enchanted to make your acquaintance.
Gabor here's a true local notable, from one of Mahakam's leading clans, the Zigrins. But then he wouldn't be our guide if he wasn't. A guide for all important guests.
A pleasure. And as I said, I thank you for your hospitality, but I've no time to feast now. I must speak to your ruler at once.
Don't mean no offence, but Elder-in-Chief Bruverhoog's a recluse of sorts, as humans go. Didn't even meet the ones that wear crowns. But I suppose I could, meaning if you drafted a letter...
Her Majesty's got Demoven's signet, given willingly.
Ah. Well, that's a sheep of a different sort. We didn't let many human folk into Mahakam, and for good reason. So those who we let come through the second gate get blindfolded. Just after they've surrendered their arms at the first. But you've the leaden ring. Given one of your kind to confirm trust and amity. So, we're certain we can treat you as one of our own. Elder-in-Chief's in the pass visiting. Looking to his flock. Come on. No reason you two shouldn't jabber right quick.
Though the Lyrian infantry rose half an ell taller than the dwarf, he moved with remarkable ease through the waist-high snow, while those behind him slipped and stumbled on the ice-slick rocks. Neve and Rayla trailed the party, so they might speak in private.
Non-humans you despised immensely, I believed.
They don't bother me a bit. Long as they stay in their lands, seek fortune nowhere else. I detest only those who infest our cities, humbly insist on belonging to our guilds, holding office in our institutions, armies.
Yet some find a place for themselves, blend in marvellously.
It's never lasting. They're different, odd. Strain's inevitable. And then they'll always stab a human in the back.
The ring. However did Demavend come to possess it?
Elder-in-Chief himself gave it to him, years ago. A decade, perhaps more.
Why?
Oh, you must have heard the tale, Your Grace. You see, formerly, Foltest of Temeria's sovereign of Mahakam, he believed it was his right to tax any Leand lands, so he sent collectors. Well, the dwarves felt stripped, so they stripped the collectors down to their natural state. Put them in beer barrels, they then rolled down the mountainside.
Ah, my. That incited Foltest's ire, I'm sure.
Indeed, Ember hot ire. A punitive expedition was assembled immediately. We're about to set off when Demavend managed to dissuade Foltest. Elder-in-Chief gave him the ring in thanks.
I see it all now. Prevented Mahakam's slaughter, Demavend did.
Your Majesty, Demavend prevented a slaughter, true. But Foltest's in the Temerians, not the dwarves. Mahakam and fortifications. Well, you'll soon see. No human will take them, ever.
The Elder's gratitude, then? Not certain I know where it came from.
Had the dwarves crushed the Temerians? No, when they had done so, what would have happened? Why, retaliation against all non-humans in Temeria. Bruver knew this, so in fact, Demavend saved them.
Exceptionally provident, the Elder-in-Chief.
And shrewd as a swarm of snakes. So when you speak, beware his hiss, and weigh your every word.
Rayla, your aid proved an unexpected bounty.
Your Grace, to fight arm in arm with one so bold as you is an honour from which I'll not readily resign. I was to lead you to Mahakam, King Demavend's order. As to my duties afterwards, I received no instructions. So until a sealed scroll containing such arrives, I will serve your Grace under her command.
I'm content, Rayla. The times are such that no aid can I dismiss, and yours in particular.
I'm humbled, Your Grace.
Let us move on. I've grown amply curious of this Elder-in-Chief, this Bruverhoog.
Your Grace, I've a message for your eyes only.
A hearty Mahakam welcome to you.
What an honour! Even the arbalists salute us with cocked quarrels.
Oh, that well. An ounce of prevention saves a slag heap of trouble. None too shabby as views go, eh?
Were it not for the howling wind, I'd make a sketch.
Meve rode slowly, her surroundings interesting to her, her ears keen to take in the cacophony of sounds. The sharp whistle of wind rushing past towering peaks, the squeak of wagon wheels rolling over frozen snow, and the roar of beasts.
What the... I dare not venture a guess.
Gabor scratched his chin.
An ice troll. Or one of them Barbigazar bejabbers.
These beasts, are they tame? As the dragon?
Not in your life. Fierce horsens, every last one of them. Spring cleaning year past, one year bit my arm clear off.
The Queen's brow rose in a silent inquiry.
All right. You don't quite ken the context. Each spring, with the melting of the snows, a good bit of that filth comes out the ground. That's when Brewer Hoog summons all dwarves for spring cleaning. We cut down as much of the filth as we can, and that means relative calm the rest of the year.
Out of the corner of her eye, Meve noted a dark shape darting between rock formations. Calmly, she drew her sword and brandished it a time or two to warm up her stiff arms.
Seems it is our lot to assist you with this cleaning. Lyrians, arms at the ready. Prepare to fight!
Stop standing around like corns on a toe! Get to work!
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
The unworthy shall be punished.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Watch out! It's rolling our way!
My scars? No, they don't hurt.
For you, pal! Anything. All right. We've got some splaining to do.
As the wails of speared Shaelmars died down, the crowd of Mahakaman infantry parted. A dwarf stepped forth, grey as a snow fox, wrinkled as a prune. He walked with difficulty, supporting himself on a battle axe, its two heads dripping blood.
This would be our Elder-in-Chief, Brúvar Hugh. And who might your guests be, Gabor? Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia, and her associates in court.
My regards, Elder. I come...
You come for something. Coin's my first wager. Fighting bodies my second. Well, what is it you want? I'm on in the years, aye, but I'm not gone dotty. Tja, you menfolk. You got to fall on hard times to remember us dwarves.
I've come with a design in mind, I cannot deny. But hear me out and you shall see.
She's armed! Gabor! Why the devil did you let her in here like that? And without a sack or her heat! She has the leaden ring, Elder.
A gift from a king.
From Demavend, lassie, I ken that already. Trust a man, give him something of value, and he'll go and give it away as easy as a street whore gives away nubs. It's a good thing he didn't pawn it. Sons of humans.
I've travelled far to see you. Hear me out, I beg you.
Let it be my loss. Go on, heave her away.
Nilfgaard has overrun my realms. It has overrun Aedirn. The Blackclads are at the foot of Mahakam. They will seek to overrun your land sooner or later as well. We must act. We must react together, while there is still time.
Time? What do you ken of time, lass? Got how many summers do you? 40, maybe? Had you grown up amongst dwarven folk, at your age you'd be learning to crochet dolls. No more than that. I've seen 400 summers come and go. And I've been elder for 200. And you know what I've learned in that time? That meddling in your idiot scraps doesn't ever bring any good. Now, on a normal day, I'd have you all thrown clear out of this land I love. But you've the leaden ring, and that grants you the right to hospitality. And here, in Mahakam, laws and rights are sacred. You may stay in the pass long as you wish. Young Zigrin'll serve as your guide. And once you've tired of the mountains, well, you ken the way down into the valleys. I bid you farewell.
My Lord Elder, with all due respect, we came to your aid. We smote the beasts with you, yet...
And who the demons is this one?
Count Reynard Odo.
Ho-ho! Odo, Lodo, Bodo! Now, you listen and listen well. We didn't ask for aid, and you know why? 'Cause I've my dignity. Not like some. Mates and wenches! Spring cleaning's done, beast culling's over. Mount Carbon beckons us home. Follow me!
Your Grace, be not dismayed. We will find a way.
Manage we shall, true. Though damned if I know how. We have none other to whom we can turn, no other land where we can flee.
Let us convene in council, Your Grace. Consider together what's to be done. We've yet Redania, Temeria.
Your Grace, might I draw you aside a wee moment, for a jabber?
Reynard, please excuse me. Well, what is it you want?
I ken the Elder-in-Chief dinna make a good first impression.
And the second? Is it any better?
To be quite frank, no. I'll try elsewise. Not all's lost, trust me. Brewer's a stubborn goat, no doubt about it. But a goat to be persuaded. And I happen to ken how.
The selfless impulse to help. I don't believe it exists. So before you describe how you aim to aid me, be kind enough to explain why you wish to do so. Unsolicited, mind you, and clearly against your elder's wishes.
A query of my own to answer yours. Do you ken when Brewer Hoog last strode down the mountains into your lowlands?
I know not. While King Sambuk sat on the throne?
Point of fact, never. Hoog was born here and he'll die here, like most Mahakaman dwarves. Whereas I'm a frequent visitor in your human lands. Been an emissary to royal courts, trade guilds, mummers, troops, and I've eyes. I can see all the rubbish goes on between yous. Nilfgaard's insatiable. The Blackclads will not stop till they've put the whole continent neath their boot. From Ophir in the south to the Dragon Mountains in the north. Gods forbid they grip all the Nordlings' realms in their vice. 'Cause then we'll have their hordes all round, controlling all the trade routes, supply lines, diversions even. And then they'll control terms and prices. Ooh. We dwarves have never been on a lead, let alone a short one. So, in short, we'll all be better off with the Blackclads back across the Yaruga. And I've seen your grace. Seen you in battle. You've brawn and bite, and with the right support, you can drive them back. I ken that well.
Very well, I'm all ears. What must we do to spur Bruverhoog to aid us?
I might start with the thorn in our side that are beasts. A bigger thorn than most expect. See, in our never-ending search for gold, we dug deep, too deep, and reached abysses where monsters are born, or however they come to be. Soon as it turns a bit warmer, they crawl out to feed. And there's more every year. What you saw there, the spring cleaning, that's just light yearly upkeep. It dinna go at the source of the blight. Every spring we cull enough so we can live and trade and mine normal-like. But there are corridors in the upper valleys midst the peaks, where more lie waiting to pounce. So many, there's settlements that have done been abandoned.
I still fail to see how this relates to myself and Bruver.
Your Majesty, slay the beasts down to their last, and you'll win the hearts of the clans. All of them. And with the clans behind you, why, the Elder'll have no choice. He'll bend an ear, treat you serious. You got two sites through which beasts swarm in great numbers. There's Davor's Abyss, and an abandoned underground settlement called Burr's Rump. Destroy those, collapse the corridors, problem solved.
You colour the solution as simple and known. Why has Brewer Hoog not gone at the matter?
Ha! You must learn one thing about us dwarves of Mahakam. Customs, traditions, why, we're obsessed. Goes thrice for Brewer. The Elder deliberates weeks on end. And that's in considering if we shouldn't wear suspenders, because they might be through outside, and should thus be forbidden. We've a set of laws, the Four Dwarves Codex. One of its tenets says, dare ye not close a corridor once oped. So, no self-respecting dwarf can nor will do it. But you're free out with. The laws dinna apply. You've a free hand in sealing the corridors from which the beasts come. Collapse them, flood them, I dinna ken, but solve the grief once and for all.
And this, 'twould suffice?
I believe it would. But find you other ways to win the heart of a clan or Brewer himself. Do so. Can he bring no harm?
All this sounds rather toilsome, yet I do favour this to losing another moon seeking out a court where we would at first be welcomed, only later to hear another rebuke. You've my gratitude, Gabor. You've shown me a way. Very well. Let us think on these beasts. See what's to be done. I've come to the conclusion your Elder-in-Chief is not fond of guests.
Fond? That's near a quarter of it. He hates them, with seething passion. But you're damned lucky.
Why's that?
Let you in, didn't he? Mahakam was cordoned off completely from the outside world for many a long year. Clans finally forced Brewer to at least let in peddlers and emissaries. Though he dragged his feet as long as he could.
Quiet, wench. You'll scare the fish off. Crev. Duvel Scheiß!
I smell a leak. You mad? Don't shake that!
Enough, chit-chat. Draw your weapon.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
My scars? No, they don't hurt.
Eh?
Discipline shall bring us victory!
This artist will be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
right. That's no problem.
The unworthy shall be punished.
When will you ever learn?
Yes, Your Grace?
How go things, Reynard? You and Gascon get along now, I hope.
Well, you might say we've established a certain rapport, Your Grace.
Tell me more, friend.
I don't pry into his affairs, nor he into mine.
I'd prefer it if my commanders worked together more closely.
Your Grace, the man's a brigand.
Oh, Reynard. He was a brigand.
I must disagree, I fear. Yes, he stopped thieving for now, but only because it's convenient, so to speak. Gascon isn't a changed man. He still hasn't an ounce of honor, dignity.
Yet he has a unit of armed men, without which we'd be much worse off. Might not even have survived.
Agreed. The Strays are excellent fighters. I'd be the first to admit it. I only fear they might turn on us. Leap at our throats when we least expect it.
It's time I attended to other matters.
Hey-ho, how's my favourite queen in the north?
You and Reynard, do you get along?
Like a cat and a hound. Get it? 'Cause they call me...
Yes, yes, your jests are easily understood. Far more difficult to enjoy.
That's probably true, in your royal high and mightiness's case.
Will you answer my question?
We get along because we must. Though it'd be far easier if he pulled the lance from his arse.
Haven't heard a truer word in a long while.
What was that?
Nothing, nothing. It's time I attended to other
Yes, milady?
You choose not to follow your king, Xavier. Why?
To fight in the field, with you. This was my wish, my lady.
But what of your home? Rosberg must be rebuilt. Engineers are needed.
I've no kin in Rosberg. No soul left for me there. All I've left is revenge.
I understand. Other matters await my attention. We shall speak later.
As you wish, my lady.
Yes?
Rayla, might I ask you a personal question?
Certainly, ma'am. But I can't guarantee I'll answer.
You see, Nilfgaard marched into my land, invaded, stole my crown, slaughtered my folk, and topped it all off by turning my own son against me. Yet, the hatred I hold for them's a mere shadow of the passion that grips you. You lust for the blood of every last Scoia'tael.
Haven't heard a question yet, Your Grace.
What did they do to you, Rayla? What happened to make you who you are?
Elves and humans, they can interbreed. But you must know that. My mother was an elf, making me half of one. We lived in a hamlet, and all around us knew. The other children would bully me, beat me, spit in my face. No, why? Because they feared the Scoia'tael. But powerless, fully aware they could not defend themselves, they took their fear and shame out on me. The Scoia'tael sow hatred and terror between the races, and that will not change. It will not disappear, as long as their bloody rebellion continues.
Demoven's reason for so fiercely defending Aldersburg, I must say it caught me quite by surprise.
Not me. King went to that brothel every time he stopped at Aldersburg, which was oft. He made sure of that. I told him he'd sting a girl with his serpent one day, but he wouldn't listen.
My, I see Demoven couldn't keep anything secret from you.
Didn't have a choice, really. When Edern was not at war, I served as his bodyguard, followed him everywhere, and saw everything. My king enjoys life, enjoys pleasures, and indulges often, but none of this has hindered his ability to govern the realm bloody well.
I must go. We'll speak later.
Your Grace, I need to speak with your quartermaster. Excuse my Elvish, but I can't drink that goat's piss he serves in the mess.
Reynard's doing, no doubt. He doesn't like the men to drink too much.
To be blunt, ma'am, what Reynard himself needs is to get good and bloated for once in his stiff life. So, I have a proposal for you. A shipment of the best dwarven mead and lager. I can arrange for you to arrive. Trust me, the men's morale's nae like to be a problem when they pour a bit of fire in their guts.
Stiff or no, Reynard's right on this one. An army of sots will do me no good at all.
Your camp, your rules. Least of my pipe.
You're a Zigrin, are you not? I know the name. One of your clan slew the dragon Ockvist.
Aye. You're thinking of Yarpen. Cousin of my cousin. Left Mahakam when I was but a wee snot. Decent enough dwarf, but never could conform to our basic tenets and laws. Though, admittedly, we've so damned many it's hard to keep them from leaking out your ears.
Is it that bad?
I'll put it this way. Among human folk, you cannae steal, brawl, murder. All the basics. In Mahakam, we've got laws about how to braid our beards. But I'm no one to complain. The Zilgrins are well-to-do, one of the richer clans. Got more than enough goods to suit our needs. Though, we've got some bads as well.
What do you mean?
Bah! Nae worth your time. I didn't mean to bother you. Sides, best to jabber of such things over a cold pint. Or keg?
Your elder. I'd like to know more. Do tell me about him, please.
I'll skip the obvious, as you've already had the pleasure of meeting the old crank. All in all, though, he's nae as scary as some say. Been keeping the clans in check for some 2 centuries now. Which is nae a small feat, I might add, no.
No conflicts between them all this time. Are you certain?
I can't tell if you're jesting. At each other's throats each day they are. Breckenrigs despise the Chives. Dalbergs would scratch out the Hoog's eyes given half the chance. As for us, we hate them arse-licking fuchsies. But Brewer's got his ways, keeps each yen in line. If not for him, Mahakam would have fallen to bits ages past.
Why?
Round 150 years ago, when the elves were fighting that hopeless war against your folk, the Elder-in-Chief ordered the pass to Mahakam sealed tight. If it weren't for that, we'd have ended up like the pointy ears. As it was, we waited for the shite storm to abate. Didn't open the pass and stretch your legs again till it were safe.
Yes, I remember. The manufactories in Rivia have yet to recover.
With all due respect, Your Grace, your workshops forge utter crap. It's nae our fault that human folk prefer dwarven goods. Basic market principles, that's all it is.
I feel enlightened, Gabor. Thank you. We shall return to this conversation later.
No skin off my back. We seeing each other, Your Grace.
Your Grace?
Farewell, Ake.
The dwarves are demanding a pretty sum, but their steel's worthy of any crown. No offence meant, but Rivian blades don't hold a candle. Their elders just a tad eccentric. The dwarves are demanding a pretty sum, but their steel's worthy of any crown. No offense meant. The Rivian blades don't hold a candle to their Mahakaman cousins.
Meave noted a crowd of dwarves. They were several dozen, many holding baskets brimming with dried sausages, soft, puffy pretzels, and jugs of frothy beer.
What is this gathering?
She asked Gabor.
These folk, they're the parents of youngsters who are to return today from their Drekthag.
Gabor proceeded to explain that the Drekthag was a trek upon which the local dwarves would embark when they reached maturity. During this year-long voyage, young folk would taste of life beyond their home. Yet if they failed to return on time, they would be stripped of all rights and privileges accorded to Mahakam's natives.
See, in recent years, young folks' blood's been boiling on account of the strict laws in force here.
Gabor added.
So, we send them out. Let them taste life in the lowlands. Once they've learned for themselves what it's like to live among humans, they come back and ain't likely to complain.
Customarily, only a few dwarves ever decided to remain in the valleys for good. That year, however, was different.
Deadline's the Mora. And 40 Drekthagers still haven't returned.
Their parents now worried if some misfortune had not befallen them. The Mahakaman Guard had sent out patrols to the near reaches of the valleys. They returned not having seen anything distressing, while the humans living at the foot of the massif had been largely unwilling to talk. The guard captain, a dwarf with a fiery red beard, removed his helmet, wiped the sweat from his brow, and addressed Meave.
Your Majesty, we need to find our youth. Perhaps you'd be willing to go out and search. Human folk are more like to tell you if they saw anything out of the ordinary of late. Naturally, there'd be something in it for you too.
If your guards who know these mountains like the backs of their hands could not find them,
said Meave,
then I truly doubt we will. Forgive me, I must refuse.
Having said this, the Queen rode off and her army resumed its march. And the dwarven parents were left to turn their gazes once more toward the valleys. Upon spying the returning Lyrians,
if your guards who know these mountains...
the Queen noted a building with unusually lavish ornamentation, including shining bronze roof tiles and glistening rock crystal window panes. An important clan dwelled there, Gabor explained. the Breckenrigs.
Could you introduce me?
Meave asked.
Perhaps I can convince them to intercede with Bruver on my behalf.
The clan head, Iva, invited Meave to an exquisite feast. But when she broached the subject of the war raging just outside Mahakam's borders, the dwarf changed the subject at once. Looking around the interior, Meave quickly understood why. The walls were ordained with Nilfgaardian tapestries and rugs. Gifts from friendly Imperial envoys, no doubt. Meave prepared to leave, convinced she had wasted her time, when someone clasped her shoulder and pulled her into a darkened room. Her kidnapper turned out to be a young dwarf, female, it seemed, dressed in her nightshirt. She introduced herself as Iva's daughter, Eudora Breckenrigs, and openly admitted she had eavesdropped on Meave's dinner conversation.
Listen, me dad's stubborner than an old goat, but I'll convince him to help ye. For a wee favour, that is.
Mm-hmm. What?
I want you to steal something from the clan archive. Historiae Mahakamorum, 'tis called. See, me dad won't let me betroth me sweetekin Zoltan. Says the codex forbids marrying a dwarf who's left the mountains. But there's precedent. Just such a case described in that document. If I can show it to Da, he'll have to change his mind.
Meave felt sympathy for Eudora and wanted to help her, especially considering the favor Eudora could do her in return. But she fully realized if her attempt to break into the archive ended badly, it would result in a tremendous scandal Bruver Hoog would not soon forget.
The pot's worth the play, I believe. Fine. I accept your offer.
They then shook hands, sealing the deal. Meave had to bite her tongue to stop from crying out, for the young she-dwarf had the grip of a brawny blacksmith. Meave returned to her company, and, massaging her sore hand, presented Eudora's offer. Gascon volunteered for the task at once.
Thievery's my forte. The dwarves won't notice a single mothball out of place.
Gascon snuck into the archive under the cover of darkness. Just as he was tucking Eudora's desired document into his cloak, he heard dwarven boots clanking down the stairs.
Damn it!
Gascon swore.
I can't let them catch me.
Who's there?
What a nub. That was close.
Who's there?
What a nub. That was close.
Ha! Ha!
Piece of cake.
Ah! Ah! Huh! Ah!
What a nub. That was close. Piece of cake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a bit more.
Huh. Ha! Yeah. Huh. Ah! Huh. Ah! Ha! Ah!
Easy as pie.
Luckily, Gascon managed to do the deed quietly, so the dwarves never found out who had broken in. As agreed, Niamh handed Eudora the stolen document.
Ha!
The dwarf shouted, raising the parchment in a triumphant gesture.
Da can't do nothing to stop her making vows now. I've got to write Zoltan right quick. Thanks. Thanks a million times over.
And Eudora did her part too. Soon after, the Queen learned there'd been a gathering of the clans, and Ivor had indeed spoken on her behalf. She could only hope the elder Breckenriggs had swayed Bruva Hoog as well.
Eudora Breckenriggs Shive. Oh, I truly like the sound of that. Oh, there's nothing. Dad's stubborn, but I always find a way with him in the end. Oh, there's nothing.
You can count on us, Queenie. Ivor'll be a wall at your back, stout and strong. You're no cold without a beard. What are you poking me for? Ah, scrounging for coin, no doubt. Righty then, take this pouch and kindly get off my arse. Bonnie Holmes, eh? Just slightly different for those straw... You can... Bonnie... Ah, you thundering dope!
I told you to hold your horses or you'll shake the hitch loose.
Oh, now you're a bleeding expert, are you? You overloaded the damn cart, that's why it's busted.
A wagon lay strewn across the middle of the road. Behind it stood others, some loaded with gold, jewels, and other valuables, others groaning under barrels of pickled meat. Each dwarf had his own theory about how the accident had come about, and thundered it out to all and sundry, peppered with choice invectives.
An odd caravan.
Meave said.
They don't look like merchants.
Nay, they ain't.
Gabor answered.
Dwarves of the Ferens clan, carrying gifts for the Drake. Remember Keltilus? When he took roost here, Ferences fought him for near a century. Then the dragon got weary of fighting and they realised he weren't going nowheres, so they cut a deal. He didn't bother them. They give him what he needs.
Well, well. And these offerings they send often?
Every week. Excuse me, got to separate them lads, for they tear out each other's beards. Hey there! Cool your idiot heads!
Gabor managed to douse his brethren's fiery tempers, but the wagon still lay across the road, blocking all traffic.
Queen,
said Xavier.
There's an easy repair. I have the tools, the parts. Need but your permission.
Of course. Go see what can be done.
Xavier did indeed make quick work of the problem. Within moments, the wagon was rolling smoothly down the road, good as new.
Well, shaft me, your highness,
said one of the dwarves.
Your engineer's got a pate like stewed meat, but he kens his trade, that's for certain.
I'll convey your words to him. Or at least part of them.
Me and the lads will be on our way now, but first, take this. Bit of gold by way of thanks.
Thank you,
Meave said, accepting the surprisingly heavy pouch.
In wartime, every copper counts.
The dwarf bowed in parting, shook the snow off his beard, then rejoined his caravan. Within a few moments, the wagons had disappeared around the bend. A pillar of smoke rose above the mountains, and a sooty aroma filled the air.
Fire,
Gabor said, then took a deep sniff.
Perhaps a bolt struck some barren trees?
No,
Meave said curtly.
I know that scent too well. All Edirn reeked of it. It's the smell of burning homes.
The Lyrians quickened their gait. Soon they saw a town fully aflame, and a roaring, furious dragon above it.
That's your Keltimus?
Gascon asked, shielding his eyes from the sharp glare emanating from the city.
You were right. Perfectly harmless.
Dinna ken what's got his knickers in a bunch,
the dwarf said, grabbing his axe from his belt.
Queen, we got to make haste to the rescue.
Smother your fears, Sir Dwarf,
Abe proclaimed. Without waiting for Meade's reply, he dropped his lance and galloped headlong towards the burning city.
Follow me! Slay the Viper!
Reynard!
Meave called out.
Have our men wet their cloaks for a modicum of fire protection. We move as soon as they're done. If we don't make haste, Ache will be reduced to smouldering plate.
Your Grace, they are but common soldiers. To fight a dragon.
I know, but we must help them, or at least try.
While Reynard went to pass on the order, Meave turned to Gabor.
This dragon, has it any weakness?
Fear not,
said the somber dwarf.
Except a fondness for raw meat.
Meave nodded and swallowed dryly. Despite the cold, she felt sweat pour down her scalp. Stifling her fear, Meave gave the order to attack, and her soldiers rode into the flaming city. From up close, Keltilis looked even more terrifying. Though enormous, he moved with shocking agility, like a lizard scurrying over sand. With one swing of his paw, he snapped the necks of 3 dwarves, then bisected a 4th with a powerful bite. After that, he turned his attention to the Lyrians.
More of you!
He said, twisting his bloody maw into a horrifying smile.
God!
Behind me! Stay together!
I smell a leak.
Haven't killed a dragon. It has to be possible.
Your Grace, we're taking losses!
Ah, shite! He's raging now! Watch out!
Getting to work.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
The vermin's diminished, but be wary. Each blow it answers still with wrath and fury.
Company! Forward march!
Prepare to fight, if you've any honor.
That day, many Lyrians perished, either to the dragon's all-consuming fire or to its flesh-rending claws. Yet their sacrifice was not in vain. Together with the dwarves, they were able to grievously wound Keltulis, forcing him to flee. The howls of the wounded monster rang throughout the valley.
That's right, howl, you scurvy snake! Shouldn't they ever attacked us, eh? Damn fuel lizard!
Meave, that's Vavrenik, elder of the town and all the Ferences.
My regards and condolences.
Eh, tain't so bad. If nae for ye, wouldn't there be a stone left unrubbled? To be honest, when I caught wind some human queen come to Mahakam looking for aid, I said a crocus would sprout twixt my cheeks afore I'd vote aye on that. Gonna be a fear to look in my breeches after, but changed my mind. After what I saw today, what ye did for us, you've the support and undying gratitude of all Ferences.
Thank you. Faced with a Nilfgaardian peril, that means a great deal.
Forgive me for interrupting this tear-tugging scene of interracial reconciliation, but I can't hold back no longer. Vavrenik! Double shice! What happened? Why'd Keltulis attack?
I ken as much as ye. Meaning, squat diddly. Just flew up, started spewing flames, half the town lit up in a flash.
Sheepshank! 300 years I've been a good neighbour.
What's done's done. Got to think about the future. The Drake's just taking a breather. Gotta finish him off for he's regained form.
Meaning, we haven't much time. He heals like an alchemist's pup. And the nearest guards are miles away. He'll be up flying again before they get here.
Aye, that's what I thought. Perhaps, your grace, you'd,
What? Jest you must.
I ken you're tired through the fight, dinna want to risk casualties, etc. But remember, the beast's sleeping on a bed of gold and rubies, all belonging by right to Bruther, of course. But if quibbling some wandered off, he'd nae notice.
I admit that does alter my calculations. Besides, the dragon was badly wounded.
Putting it featherly, blood poured out of him like a leaky bladder. Just needs a coup de grace.
Fine. I'll do the deed.
Ken you'd see the light.
Oi, Vavrenik, Vavrenik. This lady's gonna make your rump a regular crocus garden.
Aye. Queen's doing us a great service. One that'll profit us both.
So, where is Keltulis' lair?
North of here. It's a vast cavern. Ye cannae miss it.
Meave bid farewell to Vavrenek and set out on her way. Did her way lead to the dragon's lair, you ask? Shh. Let's not spoil the surprise.
Trust a boarhead, and what do you get? A singed bahookie. Brown, red, gold. Every dragon's a right bastard.
Wait! I'm coming with ye! Gonna beat that scaly bastard so hard he'll shoot fire out his arse!
Keltalis' lair was indeed impossible to miss, as would stand to reason, for any space capable of containing a dragon must be enormous. The lair's maw, a black triangle cut out of a vast plain of snow, loomed from afar. Confirming the dragon's presence was the powerful odor emanating from it, one of sulfur and blood.
Well then,
Gascon said.
ready to become a legendary dragon slayer?
My father oft said, never should you count pelts till the hunt is through.
Meve said, dismounting her horse.
It's all the more true when you hunt dragons. He's wounded, yes, but one puff of flame, and we shall be not legends but corpses. Leave all thoughts of foolhardy bravery behind.
The Lyrians crept across the dragon's threshold. They walked single file, shields raised, watched by bats hanging from the ceiling. Keltalis lay curled up on a bed of diamonds and gold coins turned red from his blood. Seeing how he strained merely to lift his massive head, Meve knew the dragon no longer posed any threat.
Come to finish what your poison began?
The monster croaked hoarsely.
Fine. Do it then.
Keltalis turned over, exposing his vulnerable underbelly, and waited calmly for the fatal blow.
Wait,
Meve said, dropping her sword.
what poison?
Keltalis laughed while squeezing his bleeding side in pain.
So they didn't tell you? Lousy munchkins.
Hey! Watch your tongue!
Gabor yelled.
Sides! I didn't ken anything about it.
Keltalis looked the Lyrians over mistrustfully with his snake-like eyes, then began to tell his tale. The caravan Meve had met on the road was different to the others. This time, Keltalis's meat had been pickled in a special brine, one spiked with poison. As the dragon lay curled up in pain, Ferenc dwarves entered his lair and smashed his head.
So if I understand correctly...
Meve interrupted.
You're female?
Correct. Same as you.
As if on command, all Lyrian eyes turned to Gabor.
Don't you look at me! We didn't peek under his, its tail.
If I may.
Reynard interjected.
These revelations about Keltalis's sex are undeniably fascinating. But I'm more curious why the Ferences stooped to such a dishonorable deed.
That's easy enough to guess.
Meve said.
They were afraid the dragon would soon demand more tribute to feed its young. So they decided to strike preemptively.
A wise and noble deed.
Ache cried.
Evil must always be nipped in the bud.
To the Ferences' misfortune, they delivered too small a dose of poison. Infuriated at the sight of the broken eggs, the dragon gathered its strength and flew to the nearest town. Meve saw for herself what happened then. And now it was up to her to decide how this story would end. The dragon had killed dozens, perhaps even hundreds, but had been provoked first by the dwarves' heartless cruelty. Did it thus deserve death or mercy?
I understand your pain,
Meve said.
but nothing can justify the massacre you wrought.
Nothing? And what would you have done in my place?
Snorted the dragon.
Pen a letter of complaint to Elder-in-Chief Oak? They killed my children?
I'd have done the same.
The Queen replied, not hesitating a moment.
I'd have sought revenge, knowing what punishment I'd earn.
The monster looked Meve in the eyes a long while, then dropped its head.
I've no more strength to fight. I've no more reason to fight. Do as you see fit.
Meve raised her sword high and swept it down with enormous strength, cutting the scaled belly in twain. The monster bellowed out a long roar and writhed its tail, scattering diamonds everywhere. then grew still. Keltalis, the last red dragon between the Great Sea and the fiery mountains, had breathed his last. There followed a strange silence. No one cheered, no one clapped. Only Ache whispered a prayer of thanks under his breath.
That was...
Gascon said, the first to break the silence.
Not terribly epic.
What'd you expect?
Gabor said, arms akimbo.
Fanfare and fireworks. The mountain to quake. He up and died. What else would he do?
I am certain, Your Grace,
Reynard said,
that the poets will endow this moment with the appropriate splendor.
I'm sure they will.
The Queen said, sheathing her sword.
For they are liars.
The Queen told her soldiers to gather a part of the dragon's treasure, small enough not to bring down the wrath of Bruverhoog, but large enough to fully compensate the Lyrians' losses, and Meve gained the title of Dragon Slayer, though she rarely made much mention of it. Meve squinted, the better to see the scene. Several dozen dwarves had gathered on the cliff overlooking the chasm. All were turned towards a ramp, at the peak of which stood a barrel.
What is that gathering about?
Asked the Queen.
Have we a feast day?
Nay,
answered Gabor grimly.
'Tis an execution.
A hairy head peeked out of the barrel. The long, pointy nose and ears left no doubt that it belonged to a gnome. The first Meve had ever seen in her life.
Help! Save me!
The gnome yelled.
They aim to kill me! Cast me in the chasm!
Shut your maw!
Barked the dwarf standing next to him, who then shoved the gnome inside the barrel and covered it with a lid.
Your crimes! The sheer weight of him, hey? No lighter punishment is fitting.
The other gathered dwarves nodded approvingly. Two gripped the barrel, lay it on its side, then lifted it to cast in the chasm, paying the thumping from inside it no heed. Meve leapt from her horse, and ignoring Gabor's objections, scrambled up the ramp.
Oi! You're not allowed! Hey, damn it! What do you think you're doing?
I think it's obvious. Preventing the execution.
Ah! Ah! Thanks be to the gods!
Whoa, wench, you've no such right. Judgment's been handed down. Sentencing's done.
Yes, and a cruel sentence it is. One that prompts me to wonder what the accused did to deserve it.
Better to ask what he didn't do, the varmint. Arrived here with his peddler's wagon full of tricks and gadgets. Went from house to house, praised his rubbish to the high heavens. And what's it he sold us? Bombs that go off in your hand. Beard growth formula that makes your hair catch fire. Music boxes for the kiddies. Once cranked, they never plough in stop.
You needed but to loosen the screw in the back and...
Shut your maw, ye roaster. Doesn't it matter all that? 'Cause we'd have forgiven it if he hadn't broken our sacred rules and hallowed customs.
Which ones, if you don't mind me asking?
Enter the smithy, cap on his head, held nails between his teeth, and poured fruit syrup in his beer. Raspberry. Blech.
Just the once, and but a few drops.
You got nothing to explain your villainy, scoundrel. Not a thing. And that's not even the worst. Saved his highest crime for the end. He was in a mine. And he whistled.
Ooh. Oh, aye, that's bad.
Shouldn't have done that.
Aye, he did. Whistled through his teeth and hummed in harmony a long warble. We all heard it up and down the shaft, and our grand elders were clear. Death's the punishment. Death by barrel roll.
Wait 1 minute. What exactly does the Four Dwarfs Codex say? Which stricture did he violate?
What did... How's it a wench and a human one to boot know about the code?
This human wench has a head, and a capacious one. Well, have you an answer?
The code says thus. 'Tis a crime most grievous to whistle in a mine. Any dwarf committing the cock-up shall be placed in a barrel at once. Said barrel then to be rolled down a mountain.
Any dwarf? The situation's clear. If my senses do not deceive, the accused is a gnome.
Aye, but the code's not to be taken literal like. It's to be interpreted. What the ancient elders had in their heads, why, that's got to be divined.
Nothing to be divined here. You got to be a dwarf to be a dwarf, not no bloody gnome.
So, am I, meaning I'm free to go?
Perchance we ought to let the elder-in-chief rule on the matter.
Oh, aye. Oh, for we all ken how old Hoog loves been bothered with such things.
Ah, fine. Now get the hell out of that barrel and out of my sight, you hairy hamshanker.
My lady, I haven't a way to thank you.
That we've yet to discuss. Perhaps first we should learn each other's names?
Aye, yes, of course. What a prat of me. Barnabas. Barnabas Beckenbauer. To friends, Bibi.
Meve. Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
Queen? Cows in the corn, call me honoured. Your Majesty, obeisance due.
None necessary. Protocols for use at court, not beyond it. An inventor you deem yourself. Am I right?
Most assuredly. Though, truth be told, the dwarves saw no ingenuity in my craft. Seems I'm ahead of my time.
Fiery bursts in the palm of your hand. They shall be in fashion one day, to your mind.
Oh, nay, just a bit of misfortune, that's all that was. You see, I mistook mercury fulminate for saltpeter. The vials stood beside each other, see, and...
The details I need not know. But one matter I am curious about. Could you construct a bomb that would explode when desired? For instance, beneath my foe's feet as they stepped over it.
Of course I can. It's simple.
Why then? You wish to show your gratitude? You must join my ranks. Assist me to defeat Nilfgaard.
Defeat Nilfgaard? Pure ambition, that is. But I'd have been a barrel of broken bones at the bottom of a ravine, if not for you. I'll do what you ask to pay off my debt.
And thus, for the first time in Lyrian annals, a gnome enlisted with the army. And though Barnabas Beckenbauer was diminutive of body, this new recruit would prove his worth on more than one occasion.
Well, a damn shame. What with such good visibility today, too? You change your mind, lass, let me know, eh? You change your...
You change your... Every year more monsters crawl out for spring cleaning. Remember, if you pass a snail en route to the mine, share a wee bite with them. Never, ever whistle in the mine.
The blizzard's blowing in. Your Grace, perhaps we'd best pitch camp and wait for clear weather.
Tain't a bad idea. Said we might be waiting a week.
Then we march on. We've no time to waste. While we ride to and fro begging aid, Nilfgaard grows in power. We must obtain reinforcements as quickly as possible and liberate our home.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman?
I smell a leak.
for you, pal! Anything.
I'll fight to my last breath.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Fear not! We shall achieve our goal!
Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
You mad? Don't shake that!
Company! Forward march!
Have it the white of an eye from half a league away.
Nothing personal, I assure you.
It's not too late to walk away.
A knight should help. Our codex commands it.
Niamh rode on in silence, endeavoring to work out the length of her exile thus far. A scout's call tore her from her reverie.
Your Grace! You must see this!
With a grave mien, the soldier indicated a track in the snow. The hobnail boot print was all too familiar. Niamh had seen it before, upon Lyria's sandy tracks, and midst the ashes to which Edirn had been turned.
Nilfgaardian footmen.
Seethed Niamh.
Marched through of late.
Interrupted Gascon.
A day, perhaps 2 days past.
The scouts had learned a Nilfgaardian caravan with an armed escort had recently arrived in Mahaka. The invaders had brought with them chests brimming with gold and jewels, then exchanged these for the finest Mahakaman-forged swords and spears. A scout gave me one of the coins the Blackclads had used for payment. Upon the coin's back, the Lyrian eagle.
They pay with gold from my vault.
The Queen said through gritted teeth.
For arms that will cut down my fighting men and subjects.
We might yet pursue and hunt them down,
said Reynard, a spark in his eye.
And make certain Ed Dahi never lays hands on those weapons.
You might, I can.
Piped up Gabor, who had been listening to their exchange.
But you might also recall, we Mahakamans are neutrals who assure all guests within our borders safety. True, formally speaking, the Nilfgaardians have passed outside them, but attack him a stone's throw from our gates, and you'll see Bruver's rage come out his ears as steam, and out his arse as fire.
No war's outcome has been swayed by a few wagons of arms, no matter their quality,
said the Queen, vaulting into her saddle.
Yet if we turn Bruver against us, I dare say we shall never wrest our land from Blackclad hands.
The Queen's men regretted her reluctance to attack, but none tried to dissuade her. They knew her too well.
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
If anyone asks, you've not seen me. There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
We shan't pass this way.
Oh, Reynard, whatever would we do without you? Plummet off the cliff like lemmings, no doubt.
Niamh squinted and gazed off into the distance. It seemed to her that hundreds of black patches covered the peaks on the horizon. Once she had ridden up closer, she realized these were the windows of homes carved out of solid rock.
Our pride this was,
sighed Gubble.
Burra's Rump. A city carved out of mountain rock. Hundreds of miles of tunnels, dozens of steelworks, smithies and forges. Now, it's a vast lair to monsters. They ooze from underground, weave their nests, hatch their young, and when hunger hits them in the gut, they prowl down into the pass.
Niamh stood at the entrance to the underground city. The monumental gate, cast in bronze, lay on the ground, folded multiple times as a scroll of paper. Out of blackened windows oozed a stench of rotting meat and mold. The Queen bent an ear to hear water dripping, and, in the distance, a metallic scraping. A sound akin to chitinous scales rubbing against rock.
The soldiers await your order, Your Grace,
said Reynard quietly, as if he feared he would wake the beasts asleep in the caverns.
Do you recall my words as we fled Lyria?
Said Niamh, turning to Reynard.
You swore you would retake your crown, even if you had to penetrate hell to do so.
Time to follow that oath.
The Queen inhaled deeply and stepped forward, her sword raised and prepared to strike or parry. Moments later, it was swinging, biting, as the current tenants of Burra's Rump came out to meet her.
Oh, this stench is foul.
I'd like to make it known that us gnomes don't run so fast. You know, in case you were planning to skip out on the quick.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Ah!
Ah, damn it! They're hatching! Place is about to swarm with creepers!
Enough chit-chat. Draw your weapon.
Though I walk through the valley of darkness, I shall fear no evil.
Nay! Bombs will only make things worse!
Fear not! We shall achieve our goal!
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Sorry, turnips back for an encore. I think you'll really like this one. Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
Company! Forward march!
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Prepare to fight, if you've any honor.
For you, pal! Anything! This way! Follow me!
Though wounded, Meve approached the Shaelmar, which lay writhing on the ground. She then ran her sword through its heart, finishing it. Yet so spent was she that she lacked the strength to pull her blade from between the plates of the chitinous armor.
The beast near took me.
She whispered.
It was very close.
The Lyrians reached a vast hall that had once served the clans as their meeting room. The stone benches were covered in sticky slime and insectoid eggs. while bats of varying size hung from the crystal chandeliers. Gascon rummaged through old, weathered bones, surely hoping to find something of value. Gabor, in turn, was at a shut and locked door, grappling with it as if it were a deadly beast. The door finally gave way with a sigh, and the dwarf raised his arms in a triumphant gesture.
It's a storeroom. Should hold miner's tools aplenty,
he said, enthused.
Some barrels of alchemical brews in here too. Lucky there's no sign of moisture. They haven't soaked through. Alls we've got to do is roll them out into the corridor and set a bit of fire to them, and whoomph! We'll have sealed the beasts off from the pass once and for all.
Meve treated the dwarves' instructions as hallowed. Soon after, the mountains trembled from a powerful explosion. Rubble came down and blocked the tunnels. They say the plumes of smoke escaping the window openings in the rock could be seen as far as Aldersburg. Dark clouds hovered over the horizon, and a strong gale snapped their banners.
Damn it, a storm's coming. Gabor! Take us to the nearest settlement. We must seek shelter.
Soon, the Lyrians arrived in Stuhlkamp. The town square proved full of folk. Several dozen dwarves, laden with large sacks and satchels, stood about in smaller groups. When a thick snow began to fall, the dwarves cheered. Tears streamed down the cheeks of several, but Meve could not tell if they issued from some fortuitous occurrence, or if the strong wind had wrung moisture from their eyes.
What is it we witness? Why do they rejoice at a snowstorm?
Asked Meve, pulling her hood over her head.
Well, the Blizzard's good cause to postpone their expedition by another day,
Gabor responded.
See, they've been conscripted by drawn lots to be settlers. Found homes in a village in Blackbrook Vale. 7 expeditions have gone that way already, and none survived longer than a year. Valley's cursed. No two ways about it.
Intrigued, Meve proceeded to speak with the settlers' leader. He confirmed Gabor's claim. He had buried many a previous colonist. All had been abnormally thin, pale, prematurely greyed, as if some wraith had drawn the lifeblood out of them. Once the dwarf had finished his tale, he gripped the Queen's hand firmly, and promising a generous reward, begged that she and her Lyrians accompany the expedition to Blackbrook Valley.
Tain't far. Mere few leagues north along the main road. We'll make the march much easier to ken with the whole army, in case of any danger.
I know not how useful our swords can be against curses and spectres,
said Meve.
But leave you bereft and in need I will not. We shall march with you into Blackbrook Vale and see to it that you are safely arrived. Then we will march on.
The dwarf sped off to announce the good tidings to his settler brethren. By the time the blizzard had abated, they were ready to march.
Be bold. Take on challenges, risks even. But always darkest for the dawn. Or when the last candle in the mine goes out. Waiting's painful. Fall down 7 times. Always darkest for the dawn. Be bold. Take on challenges, risks even.
Stay clear of Borrow's Rump. Unless you like shale mars, that is.